Good morning. Welcome to Monday, May 19th, Commissioners Court. We have a full quorum present. Carrie, you certified meeting was probably posted. Please rise for prayer and pledges. James Ray.
Our Father, we humbly bow before you this morning. And we thank you for your presence in this courtroom, that your will may be done this morning. Father, we pray for the wisdom that is needed for these gentlemen to make the decisions for the residents of Walker County. Father, may we bring honor and glory to you this morning. Father, the verse of the day is found in Psalm 100 and verse 4. It says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. Father, I'm convicted that I don't do that often enough, and Father, there may be others here this morning who have the same conviction. Father, may we be thankful for your service to us. Father, may we be willing to allow you to lead us and guide us. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I didn't get any citizens input. Consent agenda contains 15 items. Pull number 4.
Yes, sir.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda, removing number 4.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Number 4, approve payments of claims and invoices submitted for payments.
On page 10 of 28, I'm just kind of curious who's in charge of this. Under the gallery, the pictures, is that you, Carrie? Or?
Part of that maybe
Okay,
So that's those pictures at the front by the bronze
okay,
that started a couple years ago of the commissioners that got reworked. They just got finished.
okay. Well, I just.
So they came in and I got a bill and I know it was approved before me, but
Yeah,
I submitted the bill
I'm
and
fine
signed
with
it.
it. I just didn't know who
So-
was handling it. I just kind of curious who it was.
I didn't either, but I signed it.
Now it's you. Okay, I'm good with it.
So
Make a motion to approve unless y'all have something.
I'll second.
moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Number 16, presentation of 25-year service award to Brandy Robertson. Come on up.
just want to say a few words. It's been a voice dedicated. 5 years. The foundation of any office is your employees. And Brandy is a prime example of a good employee and dedicated employee, not only just for the district clerk's office, but she helps with the Tyler system and anybody. County clerk's office, anybody who asks for help. Brandy is always willing to help. And I just want to tell her and everybody how much we appreciate her. And so I want to give you this plaque and I want to take a picture.
Thank you. You deserve it.
We got one for 50 years too.
He's like, hold on.
2, 3, 2, 3. All right.
I probably still be.
One more.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Brandy.
Yeah.
17, discuss and take action on purchase of graphics for EMS Tahoe from on-site decals in the amount of $1,650 to be paid from approved budgeted funds.
I'll second that.
Moving second, and all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 18, discuss and take action on interlocal agreement with City of Riverside to perform pothole patching that costs not to exceed $15,000.
They requested that we come help them out with some potholes in their street. So this is just approving us being able to do it. Make the motion to approve agenda item 18.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 19, discuss and take action on allocating funds provided to Walker County by the U.S. Forest Service to each precinct for maintenance and repairs of Forest Service roads.
Is this something that you can use for maintenance now?
Yes. Until 28.
So you can go ahead and spend the funding.
Yeah,
and-
actually what they told us is we could go back through 2023.
Right.
And that's what, between Brandon and I, we have more than enough receipts to get to the 105,000. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and Lucy can do it if we wanted to, have Lucy create an invoice or have an invoice created and go ahead and send it to him for the 105,000. That's what Joel said when he was here. And his examples in his little packet was just send us an invoice for the rock that, that y'all have put in place, and we'll send you a check. So that being said, when it gets here, we can allocate it out by however we want to do, which is why it's an agenda.
Quarters.
Quarters. So
Or mileage.
my thoughts were,
Mileage.
I like Colts, I do too.
I think
Most people like mine.
it's gotta be used on Forest Service.
it's gotta be there.
Yeah.
I'll come up with something.
He's got one that looks like a Forest Service. road.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I'll bring you some pictures.
So we, anyways, I've looked at it a couple different ways. Brandon's looked at it a couple different ways, and see what you got there.
So precinct 4's got 75% of the road mileage. Precinct 3's got 10, precinct 2's got 14. What Bill and I talked about doing was taking 15,000 for 2 and 3 and then 75 for precinct 4 and splitting it that way. That's just kind of what we talked about.
I'd say put it on court and let's see where it goes, but.
That's where it's at right now.
Well, if you're looking for that vote right now,
Yeah,
you don't have the money yet, but you're wanting, once
we
it
can-
gets here,
yeah,
that's what you want to do.
that's what we want to do when it gets. I think by
What do you want out of
miles,
this, Dan?
I want whatever you want.
I think miles is fair.
We'll make this interesting. We'll see what Cole wants to do then.
Well, how much goes to the judge?
Yeah. You specifically said you don't do roads.
Yeah, well,
He does
yeah,
now.
I do now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he does now, because he lives in precinct 2.
that's true.
So that's pretty, we're supposed to, it's to be used on Forest Service roads. Gus Randall, I'm gonna have to spend about $208,000 just to get through the NEPA and everything they want for me to redo that road, because I've got to widen that road. They've got to go through all the NEPA stuff that you've got to do, the woodpecker study, the monarch butterfly mating season, the bats now, the turtle. We got to do archaeological study, we got to do heritage studies, we got to do all the stuff. Bottom line, it's gonna we're estimating it'd be 208,000 to do the paperwork to get the right of way to widen out Gus Randall. Because Gus Randall's a 1-lane road going into Wildwood Shores.
Is that a Forest Service road?
It is a Forest Service road. It's on our Schedule A. So that's what I want to use.
What's the Forest Service number on it? Just curious.
What's that?
What's the number on it?
What number?
It has to have a number if it's a Forest Service road. You can't give it a name.
Oh, we have a lot of them that are.
You have a lot of roads that they will help you maintain that goes
Right.
through the forest. I
Right.
don't mean they're a Forest Service road.
The part of Gus Randall is strictly on Forest Service land.
Okay.
Yeah, so what they did back in the day, they did what they called their joint use agreements. So it was a Forest Service road, but Bob Johnson lived at the end of it, and then his sister Sue, and then another, all of a sudden there's 4 or 5 houses on this Forest Service road, so they came to the county and said, hey, y'all, it's turning into a neighborhood, so let's work out a deal. And and nobody can find these records, but they're out there somewhere.
They ain't out there.
Well, they're probably not. Might have been handshakes.
If
but-
you ain't got the record right here, you and I can't talk about it.
Right, so when we accepted these roads a couple of years, 2022, back in 2022, when we accepted these roads, we said we would maintain them. Basically, we just kind of approved the fact that, yeah, there's some sort of an agreement. We've been maintaining them. We're going to continue to maintain them. So I ended up calling Joel and talked to him. He's like, anything on this schedule, on that piece of paper that we signed is eligible for this money.
So even like Cotton Creek Cemetery, which is not a Forest Service road, but it should be on that list.
It is. I'm
So it's
pretty sure I
eligible
saw
also,
that.
right?
Your winery roads on there.
Yeah.
County Line Road, Derrick Road.
Yeah.
Cotton Creek Cemetery, Bath Lane off of Cotton Creek
Yeah, see,
is on there. And then Buck and Bull, which was Fuller's Dairy.
they're on the list, even though they're not Forest Service roads, and Yeah, they're eligible for the money, right?
So what I've done,
Okay.
obviously, I've
Yeah.
spent a lot
I'm,
of time with it.
I'm catching up with you.
Catching up.
So what happened back in this is my opinion only. What happened back in the fifties and sixties, if somebody had a property out in the middle of it, the Forest Service gave that right away, supposedly, like I said, we can't find it. The access, the permit went to the county as a third person. That's how we end up with a bunch of these. They go to a house, like the Gus Randall was the Gus Randall Ranch. Well, they give us that access instead of giving it to the landowner. Now they give it to the landowner and we're out of it. But we're stuck with all these until we either give them back or, which is not gonna be an option, because Lord have mercy.
There again, as I always say, you are taking money for them. They're on your road list. You get allocated where all this is allocated by road mile. So you get taxpayer money to maintain them.
I agree.
And so anything you get from the Forest Service is obviously a plus.
It's a bonus. is
Yeah,
what
it's a
it is.
bonus.
Yeah, it's a bonus.
And like my Gus Randall project, that's something we normally nobody would undertake that amount of money to get that extended right of way. Because $208,000 that we haven't even touched a road yet,
Yeah.
that's tough.
So,
That's half your paving budget.
so is it actually a Forest Service road or is it on the list?
It's
Like-
on the list.
Okay, so it's not a Forest Service road. It's on that list, but
It's
it's
on
not
the
a Forest Service road.
It's not a numbered, no, it's not a numbered
Okay.
road.
Maintained by the Forest Service. It's not.
Yeah, they don't own the road, basically.
Right. Yeah.
It's on that list because they have property that benefits from that road being taken care of. Typically, that's usually the case.
Not like Gus Randall is,
Yeah.
the road is on Forest Service land.
We just made an agreement to maintain it for them.
Yeah. Lost Meadows Road, now it's a numbered note, it's a number road.
Yeah.
But I have several that are on this list that are solely on Forest Service land.
yeah.
JD Edwards Blue.
Yeah, but by that little mark over there where it says who owns it. Because on that list, it makes a check, said it's either owned by the county or it's owned by the Forest Service.
Well, it's no, it's one of the
I
others, but no, it's not.
They just messing with it.
I know you're still messing with it over yonder. But it doesn't
And you
say,
told Bill not to talk to me.
I'm going now, but I don't know if it ramped up. The Forest Service never relinquished title to the property. They gave us an easement or a joint use agreement. So every road on here is on Forest Service property that they still own, but that we have an easement across it for ingress, egress, and we assumed maintenance on them. So so they're no, at the end of the day, they all still belong to the Forest Service. We just maintain it.
So if we said we don't want the agreement, we can give all these roads back to them?
Well, that came and went in 2022.
But we still could negotiate back, giving them back to them, right?
Yeah, at the end of the, no, we've been maintaining them. So they're pretty much gonna be us, brother.
So you own them.
Yeah, but you don't own them.
Yeah.
You go try to sell one and you find out who owns it. Right away.
All right, so you want to do this by road miles? Is that what you're doing? Percentage?
Basically, yeah.
I think that's fair. We put a lot of money on ours. I know he puts a lot of money on his. You work on yours. So, Danny's fortunate enough not have to mess with them. So make your motion. I'll say.
Make your motion. I'll go along with it today, but I might bring it back and retract.
The motion is gonna be to approve. Basically, Ashland or approve the court to apply for this $105,000, utilizing receipts that are there. The second part of that motion is it's gonna be split by road mileage for the $105,000.
And let's do,
You want to spell it out?
well,
Make sure all precinct 2 roads are on there.
yeah. All right.
And we can, what we talked about was,
This works fine. Yeah. Well, with precinct 2 getting 0.2%, precinct 3 getting 10, and precinct 4 getting 75.8.
I got more than Bill.
Yes, you
that
do.
was,
Would you remember precinct one?
no, he didn't have any.
No, I don't have any force.
Precinct 2 is 14.2.
14.2.
Precinct 3 is 10%. Precinct 4 is 75.8%.
Get that, Miss Allen?
I'll second that.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes. 20, Discuss and take action on senior center parking lot.
So I put this on here just to kind of get a feel for what the court wants to do. We've got, if I remember right, didn't look it up, I think it's about 400,000 to redo that parking lot. Me and Larry have been kind of visiting a little bit about, trying to get that going this summer sometime. I guess what I'm looking for is, that's a pretty good bit of money. Do we want to have it engineered or move forward with just,
I think at bare minimum, you go ahead and have geotech done, so you know it's stabilized with. And what's gonna give us a good product, that's bare minimum.
all right, well, the reason I ask is it's gonna eat up our money pretty quick. And I'm fine with whatever the court wants to do. But it's gonna hit it pretty hard anyhow.
At least.
I know what's underneath
Yeah.
the junk,
Yeah,
you know, I've dug it up enough to know,
That is junk.
yeah, that it's junk. So we put French drains in there. The center part we pulled out, many years ago, and redone it. We went back in and put in stabilized, not stabilized, but, select fill underneath it and then poured concrete on top of it. But like I said, we want it to last, so that's why I put it on the agenda. So y'all tell me what you want to do.
You got an estimate on what it's gonna cost to engineer the whole parking lot?
I ain't got an estimate on nothing, no. That's why we talked about it and we thought, well, you know, being as it is $400,000, it's a lot of money. That we need to, you know, spend it wisely but we need to also, make sure it's gonna last. So we've got the garbage service now that's coming in there, the city's coming in there, they've torn up a pretty good spot, just in the last year.
Right.
Where they're delivering that big dumpster to the back of the center and dumping the dumpster weekly, you know, there for the senior center.
there's no base or nothing underneath it.
Oh, no.
Why would I think that?
Yeah.
The county roads don't even have
Yeah.
that.
I'm not opposed to engineering it.
Yeah, well, I'm not,
But I
either.
know it's getting expensive.
Yeah.
What we just did on the Hawthorne project was a lot. $30,000 or $40,000 to engineer 400 foot of road.
Don,
so we can bring it back if y'all want some time to think about it or whatever, but, you know, we've got an engineer in house, so I mean, you know, I could get with them and get some estimates, I guess, and go from there.
Don,
I mentioned, Engineering Practice Act, the state of Texas is gonna be paid anything over $5,000. Utilizing the public funds, it's gonna require an engineer over it. Doesn't necessarily mean engineer it, but, I contacted Bill, I spoke to Ronnie last week. In lieu of a geotechnical boring, there are some companies that provide paving scans so that you can take a cross section about the same price, but you can basically run this machine back and forth over it, and you can find out where the problems are. A single geotech is not going to give you, it's going to give you a typical reading of what occurs at that one point. But scan, being the same price, you can see what the thicknesses of all the way through there are. And also it'll tell you the density, the water levels, all your adverse limits, everything else. It may be something that you want to check in with. Wow.
It's worth a try, both. Get a price for both and seed and then full speed. We're gonna end up with 6 inches of concrete on the thing. Anyway,
Oh, yeah, at least,
Yeah.
yeah, that was my plan anyhow, was
Yeah.
at least 6 inches.
Yeah.
And then we just run it out as far as the money will go, you know, and, which means we're probably not gonna be able to do the whole parking lot, but that's.
you'll get the majority of it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I haven't looked in a while. How much do we have in that line? Cause there's some.
About
I know.
400.
Yeah.
About 400.
We combined what we were gonna spend at
Tam.
there and Tam Road and spend there several years, so it ain't getting no cheaper. And the parking lot dang sure ain't getting no better. So.
right.
Larry, how's that parking lot at Town Road? Is still holding up decent?
It's holding up good.
You get with Dan, get him a heads up for the internet line,
Yes,
so he can start thinking what he needs on that, so we're not held up on that either.
the one in between the senior center and,
Yes.
the other building.
Butch
Larry's
or
building.
at Larry's.
That
I
thing-
know we're fixing to put the
So,
line of sight up, but if you're this summer, we don't even need to mess with upgrading that part of it.
that's true.
So.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I know the sewer line crosses up there by the road. So there's several things, there's gas lines and all that stuff it's got figured out.
Remember
Up there by the road.
Yeah, and we got the sewer line, huh?
The, up there by the road by 75, all that's been paid and all holding good, right?
Part of it, the main entrance has, but the parking spot of it, where they park in front of like Larry's building and Butch's building, all that hadn't been done. It's been done up to like, I guess the length of Larry's building. But to the right of it is still all that stuff. It's about to be pulled out and redone. So. All right. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, good. So we're gonna take no action on
No.
20. 21, discuss and take action on approval of resolution 2025-67 in support of Walker County application for Tex dot.
Kind of give y'all an update on this also. I don't know if I told y'all that we cleared the first call of the applications. We turned it in and I think they had north of 300 applicants and we made the cut. And so the cut means that we can submit a detailed application. And I'm working with the city. They're kind of designing the University Avenue part. Our courthouse is going to be the same one we did last time. We have that June 20th or 21st is the due date to turn that in. As a part of turning it in, more resolutions, letters of support we can attach to it. That helps us. I'm working with all the local entities, but this basically puts a legal stamp on us being able to go forward and apply for the grant. So
Sounds like a blank checkbook though.
We done already spent some money.
I know, it does. It does sound like a blank checkbook because I don't see no figures or not.
no, there's no money on this one.
Yeah,
This grant is.
it's just saying we'll spend the money, right?
The grant is 100% state funded. There's no county.
Except for
matching.
what we spent last court.
Except for the stuff we already
Yeah,
spent.
and that
To
was
get-
on the-
Those on the design engineering and the city did approve their half of the cost of it. And that to me, that was a good investment to give us, the absolute best presentation. And I was hoping to have the pictures back today that we looked at last week, but we ended up making a lot of changes on them. So I didn't have them today, but
Does this take care of the sidewalk outside the courthouse?
yeah, it's pretty dang cool. Like I say, if we hadn't made as many changes as we did last Thursday, I would have had something for us to look at today, but I want to have it. So I'll have it at the next court.
Sounds good.
A motion to us approve agenda item 21 is presented.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 22, discuss take action on Matthew and Madeline Frost and Lori Williams' request to name a private drive for 911 addressing.
Andy, I know you got quite a few concerns on this, as well as we do too. Go over that one for us.
So you guys have application, you'll scroll, I'm assuming you've read this part, so just scroll up the picture is probably the best way to talk about it.
Excellent. So keep on going down to the map.
That's a picture of just come right down to that picture first. It's a picture. So you see there's a drive that goes off this way. This is a newly improved drive that goes back. This is Scott Cotton Road over here to the far right. This driveway, these two driveways make a loop. At one point, it was a loop, strictly a loop. Now it also goes straight back from here. So this used to be sort of two ends of the same driveway, but now this one's been improved and goes straight back to some other properties, which kind of puts what used to be off the driveway over to the left-hand side here. So if you'll scroll up to the next one. See what I'm talking about here. So the driveway that went to the left kind of circles back around like this. This driveway goes back, and then the applicant is back here. So this driveway goes straight back, and then Socot Road parallels it. I mean, right next to it, parallels it maybe 20 feet away. So the applicant's request is that this driveway here, that currently has two structures off of it, a name, and instead of alpha numeric. So right now, all four structures are addressed off of this stem address, which was the loop. So, this one was originally addressed off of Sock Cotton, but that driveway was closed off evidently years ago, and they just kept using the Sock Cotton address. But their access was through this driveway. So they need to be readdressed. We've logged a potential readdress for them already. We told them building this hearing today. So there's three options that I can present the court with. She presents the option in her request to name it, to have actual numbers issued off of the then named driveway, which would become in the 911 system. The other option, given that there's these two sides of the driveway are sort of being separately used now, would be to issue a separate numbered address to this driveway so that they're not both sharing the same number. So these two homes would have one number with alphas AB off of this one. This driveway would then have a separate number, which doesn't exist now, with alphas off of that one, ABs. So to give you guys an idea of the scope of this, in the county, we have this system of having a stem address and using alphas for the properties that are accessed by a private drive. We have over 3,000 addresses that are like alpha AB type addresses. So it's not uncommon to see an AB off an existing stem address when they share a driveway access. If the court names this road, then we would go back in and readdress each structure based on distance down the road using our normal 911 scheme. If they don't, then the two options would be to either leave things with an A, B, C, D off of that one driveway loop, or to readdress the center driveway with a new number and then reissue addresses to the applicant and what was 7 Sock Cotton, who's now accessing this way. Those are the three options I can offer the court. I have no objection to the issuing a new address. There's space in there to issue a new number because Sock Cotton sits right next to it. And we obviously don't need a stem address for Sock Cotton off of 1374. So there's a spare address number there. If the court chooses to go that option, logistically, we can do that. The naming of the driveway.
I don't think naming is the right answer.
Things is strictly the venue of the court. So
Yeah, I'm
let's
gonna,
make the decision on when you
I'm
want
gonna
to.
balk you on renaming it. I mean, that's gonna be 3,000 more people up here wanting the same thing done if you
I'm with you on that.
know,
I'm absolutely with you on that. I mean, it's just a driveway.
just make it some kind of way where it's not confusing for what their problem is.
Callie, is anybody online? Big sign at the front of the road.
Yeah,
Something
something needs to be identified.
Not with these last names,
Do what, Alan?
not with these last names, no.
Is there anybody want to talk online for this?
There's a Wagner and a Sellers that are not employees.
Where are you at on it, Brandon? I mean, I'm gonna just be upfront with you. I can't go along with renaming it.
I think that we need to issue the address in the middle and then
New number.
new number in the middle for that driveway. To prevent confusion for 911. She does have small kids. They're having to go to the hospital a lot and my heart goes out to her, but renaming it, like I said, we'll have 3,000.
Well, and I think the court gets this, but as a critical issue when you're doing rural addressing with long driveways, we don't have a signage regulation in our code, but placing signs, and we've had that conversation before, directing people down long driveways sometimes requires additional signage to be placed along the route and then at the home. So that's always our recommendation. Of course, we don't enforce that. individuals to choose how to do that. But there is room to do that if that's what you want to do.
And just to be clear, from my memory and listening to the old timers, which is what it is. Sock cutting was county maintained before it was adopted. And then whenever we went to the adoption process, they didn't want it adopted. So they didn't ever get on the county maintenance list.
Yeah, it's in our.
So that's why it's named, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, it's in the 911 system, right? But evidently the individual that was accessing off of it here is not accessing off of it anymore. That structure needs to be readdressed either way. Whatever you guys do,
Right.
we're gonna have to readdress that structure because the way they get to their property has changed.
Once it was not on the county road list, or when it didn't get adopted on, then they built a fence, and then that second road that we're talking about right now got built to access that house. And now we've expanded off that up there to this other house and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and there's still, I mean, it's still drivably connected, but it's more distinct now than it probably was historically because the improvement of this section of the road.
So the motion is going to be to add the address in the middle to that road and alphanumeric.
Second.
Well, how are those property tracks broken up then?
Well, it's good that you asked that. I can answer one. I can't answer the other. I'm curious about one. You'll scroll up. I think there's a property.
Okay. I just didn't catch it. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Wow.
Keep going. Okay. So the track that the applicant's track was done with a family grants exception back before the court had a mandatory frontage requirement for family grants. So this track I'm unsure about. I see this track is presented on the property map. I'm unsure exactly about that. I'm going to do a little research on that when I get back to the office. But this one, the applicant's track was believed on the family grants exception before the code required frontage, which is why it doesn't have physical frontage on the public road.
And why we now have that regulation.
So the guy way up in the top, 2 slides back, where you have the blue light up there looking, scroll it back up for me.
So that's the track they're
That's the track. Right
talking
there.
about.
Yeah.
So
This,
up there.
this is the family grant. This is the applicant's, but the track actually looks kind of like that. That's the applicant's track. This
This is the blue light. That's him right there.
the one that's over
Okay.
here.
Yeah, so the blue dot guy is
Our applicant.
our applicant. He's in the box right yonder, so. Yeah, all right,
Yeah,
we don't-
my heart goes out to all the problems that they're having with their children too, but I mean, the reality of it is, let's make it as simple as we can without renaming it.
Mhm. Yeah, just address them all off 75 somehow.
Any other discussion? I got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 23, discuss and take action on Caitlin's 5-year request for variance to floodplain management regulations, Water County Relation Permanent Application 2025-050153.
When we ran this through our engineer, essentially, there's not enough information in the application for determination on impact because we don't have plans and all that. Basically, that's what the applicant's trying to avoid. They did some movement on the home to relocate it in such a way that it would be farther away from the flood zone, so that it was located in an area outside the regulated flood hazard area. Because they're doing site-specific permit, we don't require development certification form, base elevation form. Those forms have to be done by engineers and surveyors. They're pretty costly. But because of the design of the home, the driveway itself exits and will nick the edge of the regulated zone A. The only way I can permit something that's in a regulated zone A is with the development certification form and the floodplain form, even if it's any type of development. Okay. So I will say this, and this is a comment made in our review, but in the policy, and as they point out, it does show parking areas as a low potential for flood damage area in our code and potentially subject to not requiring a permit. I feel like that there's some case by case because the way the code is written talks about fill, and if it doesn't, create a change in the flood zone. Of course, to make those determinations, with formally, you would have to have more data. So the application is, and the recommendations are from Lyle, either the court administratively approved this as not needing a permit, given the low impact of the nature of the physical development. They're proposing an on-grade gravel driveway. Or if it needs a permit, that it go through the full process. So if you guys look at this and say, under our current code, it doesn't need the permit, it's technically not a variance request. It's just an administrative finding.
So I talked to these people and what they're gonna do with that part that's in the floodplain is they're gonna go in there and excavate out however much thickness of driveway they want, pull that out, put rock back in there, so we're not changing anything. I don't see where we need to put them into this.
I mean, this particular type of thing, the parking area in the flood zone, is something that's called out in our code as being a low potential impact. That is not an incorrect statement. That is in our code.
So this is for residents, Andy?
For a residential driveway. Yes. And the floodplain line is, they're so close to it, that it's possible using the tools that I have to determine whether or not they cross that line or don't cross that line, but there's a potential that they cross over that regulatory line.
And I'm assuming it's split into different tracks. Is that another track?
Yeah, so
Hard to see.
the property map shows the boundary here.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Okay.
This fence is the actual boundary over here.
Okay.
The appraisal district map has the property line shifted.
The motion is gonna be to approve this administratively to.
No permit required. They're getting a full permit on the home. This is just for the driveway.
So
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, workshop, Worth County subdivision regulations. Morning, Stephanie.
Hi, everybody.
You on board yet or not, Bill?
I realize what we got invested in this with Stephanie coming down here.
Absolutely.
Just setting the stage. What we're doing today is workshop.
Workshop only. Next
Next.
court, we want to vote on it. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. One way or the other.
I'll give you a second.
In a workshop?
Yeah. Bring it on, Andy.
Well, we made some adoptions the last time we were before Commissioners Court. One of the conversation pieces last time was about paving standards for general road standards for pavement sections and so on and so forth. The court wanted to discuss that further. This is just the opportunity for you guys to do that, to talk about those pavement sections. And right now we have 3 pavement sections in there now. We have an asphalt, we have a
46
curb and gutter, and we have a concrete with open ditch. We have an asphalt open ditch, concrete open ditch. We just added it in, but all 3 are still available. And they all go to the same chart for traffic loading. So we're just here to further have that discussion. I think the idea was you wanted to discuss it further. That's what.
Oh, yeah, we want to discuss it a little further because the left side's having a little issue over there. They're not conforming like I thought they should, but it's okay. But
Stephanie here, if you've got any questions.
my question to Stephanie is, I mean, as far as concrete versus asphalt, can you kind of give us the pros and cons?
Sure. So concrete generally does last longer than asphalt. Concrete, you're looking at a 30 to 50-year life on your asphalt.
Say that one more
On
time.
your concrete, 30 to 50-year life on your concrete. Of course, asphalt might be like 20 to 30 years for asphalt. But with asphalt, you're also going to have repairs that have to happen sooner. Maybe in 5 years, you may have to do some surface repairs, things like that. It's more likely to have, cracking and things like that, where reasons why the asphalt's not going to last as long. Asphalt is cheaper to install. It's much faster to repair, so you can get it open to traffic. If you do have a repair that you need to make, you can get open to traffic a lot sooner than you could with concrete. see, what else do we got here? In general, you're typically going to spend more money on asphalt pavement, on concrete over like a 50-year life, because you are replacing that asphalt, or you may need to replace that asphalt a lot sooner than you would need to replace the concrete. Asphalt, driving, asphalt's gonna have a better ride, so it's gonna be a smoother ride, quieter ride versus concrete. If you do need to repair concrete, it's typically gonna cost a lot more to repair concrete. So it's very important, in your 1 year to look and see if you've got any potential issues with that concrete.
And that 1 year while we're talking about, Andy, needs to be scooted to 2 years.
Noted.
I don't know whether the court will go along with it, but put that on there to vote too.
Couple of things that I want to make sure we get in here, and I didn't spend time to read this 90-page document again.
We don't have any additional draft notes in it. We just provided you what you already adopted, and we're just open for discussion.
Somewhere there's got to be a clause in there that says, we've got our layout here. Somewhere there needs to be a clause in there that says, basically, per geotechnical engineering recommendations or our minimum, whichever is greater.
That's what's in there already. That's pretty much there.
It essentially says that now, we could maybe put some language to even clarify it
I
further.
want to clarify because it's clear as mud to me, and I'm not an engineer reading this, but I want to make sure that's clarified.
We can strengthen that language.
I got a check.
Huh?
What else, Brent?
The way, I know y'all got the votes, so I'm not even gonna balk. I don't agree
Well,
with it.
put it in there. I mean, though, you got some concern.
On the design, if you'll go to page 81 on this deal. Leave this. Okay, so on our asphalt laid out, we got the asphalt on top, then you got the base. Then you on concrete. We normally leave this on our asphalt. You always have failures when your stuff builds up, debris, dirt, whatever. Grass trimmings build up, keep the water on the road. That's where we always have the first failure on our roads. This one, it's not real clear what we're doing here. You can't have a 6-inch slip, right, of concrete or 8-inch or whatever we end up going with. You can't just have the edge of it. At the edge of the asphalt, we leave it, right? You have a 2-inch lip there, and that gives us time for that debris to build up and water still gets off the road. We need to address that somehow. I'm not a big fan of shouldering up and bringing the dirt and grass right up to the edge of it, because then you're gonna have, it's gonna build up right there from mowing and dirt and everything, just like it does on asphalt. But we can't leave 6 inches sticking up, right? We need to define how we're gonna do that. If we're gonna edge it up right to the edge, and we'll just have to maintain it more, that's fine, but it needs to be addressed in that. See what I'm getting at, Andy?
Now, you've got a subgrade kick out. Your question is above the subgrade.
Above your subgrade, what you gonna do?
Yeah, it needs to be tied back in,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there, I thought it said, I don't remember if I'm reading it, that the hydromulching and all that was up to the, I don't know. You remember something about it, Stephanie?
Note, on the detail that says 2 to 5% typical slope away from the roadway to ensure positive drainage. But we can add some additional language.
So that slope is required for earth. I'm
Yeah.
talking about dirt.
Dirt,
So the
yeah.
grass would grow to the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to, yeah.
If you bring that raw dirt up to the edge of your concrete, you bring it up and then your grass grows up, now you've automatically got a barrier there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about. You automatically got a barrier there that your water's not gonna get off your road.
But you have that with anything. You have that with asphalt.
I understand,
I mean, that's part of maintenance.
but I don't,
I think
again, I'm not an engineer, but the way I'm reading this, it's not addressed in there.
it's covered in the standards and that that it would be a issue with design. It would be dealt with the design, but we can again strengthen the language, add some specific language about how we want that transition made. And then obviously, if you want to discuss, if you're uncomfortable with the width, we, the concrete width that's in the policy now. I believe we're at 28. What page is that? 44. For a standard
46.
26. Yeah.
Local street.
40 local street.
That's
If you
80.
scroll down, it might be different.
I need that top. There it is. We're at 28. Edge to edge. With the asphalt standard, we have a 26-foot pavement, but you do have a 2-foot base shoulder outside of that. So if you're looking at total base width, you're at 32. So it is narrower as far as any form of pavement, right? Right. If you're uncomfortable with that width, like that width should be wider, that's obviously a conversation that we could have, but
If you stabilize 2 foot out.
yeah, we're stabilizing it additional. It just doesn't have any surface
Yeah.
paving
Sure.
of any kind on top of it. There's no base material above it or any other type of pavement. So when you're talking about the surface, then surface width of your pavement is narrower.
Don, the new testing that you're talking about, is that pretty common throughout the state? Somebody could do it, or is it just now getting out?
Yeah, we use it all over the place, most
Do
of
you?
the time. Yeah, and GPRS is one of the companies that we utilize. And we will have them scan slabs, find the rebar. We look for depth of the beam, we look for the placement. I find, like in parking lots, for instance, you'll get failures for sewer lines and water lines, things like that. The city doesn't have the actual maps. So we go down through there and we can tell you that it's an 8-inch pipe that's 6 feet underground, 3 feet underground. We can tell you they can actually inspect pipes now without having to dig up the earth. They can actually go through and scan it through there.
Are you familiar with that stuff?
Yes, sir. It's ground penetrating radar, and so there are some companies out there that do that. That I haven't seen it where they can actually analyze the soil it's beneath, and so a lot of times your subgrade failure is the reason why you're having a pavement failure. But if it is something, maybe the pavement doesn't have adequate radar or something like that, then it could help determine if that's the reason why there's a failure. But you would still need some geotechnical soil borings to analyze the material below, like an existing pavement or proposed pavement. But if you've got a pavement failure and you have a pipe underneath of it, it may be a compaction issue or a stabilization issue. So the two together really can be beneficial.
I mean, can we put some verbiage in there where they could tie that in if they needed to use that too?
The nice thing about the GPRS is it's a
It would be a-
continual one lot.
Kind of.
It would be a choice on your engineer.
Yeah.
Once you're engineering the road.
There's nothing that prevents someone from utilizing it.
Okay.
A lot of times people look at cost and look at the cost benefit. And it comes in maybe more when you have a developed area versus where something's undeveloped.
Well, that's the thing about this. This is all minimums.
Right.
Everything here's the minimum. If they want to build it more, or they want to do more, then I'm all for it.
It's a little bit of a, okay, so they are minimums, but they're
State.
there's two minimums. in
Yeah.
that. There's a minimum design. Yeah. And then there's a minimum standard, code standard, and it has to meet the higher of the two. So if it's submitted with a different design above or beyond our minimum, if that's what is recommended by the soil lab, then that's what they're gonna have to pay.
Yeah.
Right. So this is sort of, if they could design something maybe less than this, and believe they can meet 1 year life by doing less than what we have spec'd, then they're still gonna have to come up and meet specs.
All right, say that again, because that's just something that sticks out in my head here.
If they were-
We're building a 20-year design
On that, though.
on the way the code reads.
That's
now,
what we
so
always hope.
20.
20 years.
Yeah, but it's gonna read, if we don't change that code right now, then,
Well, when you go to-
then we're gonna be building concrete to 20 years base.
When you're going to concrete, which is changing the whole dynamics of everything you're doing. I mean, that's going up the standards on that end as far as longevity.
I gotta know. I gotta know.
You see what I'm saying?
You know, you're talking about having separate design lines for the concrete.
Well, if we're gonna improve our roads, no matter which way we go, we need to move that 20 to 30. We can't design concrete or asphalt to 20 if we're trying to improve. We need to extend it to 30
Yes,
or 40
across
or
the
whatever.
board,
Huh?
an across the board extension of the design line.
Yes.
But one thing, I mean, that's easy to say, but concrete asphalt on top itself, it doesn't have a 30-year life. The actual HMAC topping, it doesn't have a 30-year life. It starts breaking down. 20 is really out there. 15 is pretty realistic. And actually the Public Works Association, they call you to start maintaining it at 8 or 10 to go start doing
Yeah.
something to,
Reseal coating.
covering it up with something.
Covering it, overlay on it.
But on the minimums, and you talk about if they want to do more, I don't know that I've ever seen an engineer show up with more. That's
No, that's part of it. They're not gonna do more.
Yeah.
That's the whole part of it.
that's my biggest frustration.
I think that the whole point that we're kind of missing is like the performance value. I see what the intent is, but the performance value is going to be a characteristic that's going to be independent. For instance, like if you have a PVR of 6 inches and you have, you've got a 51 on your flexibility, you get all this other kind of things, and you're not monitoring the concrete going in there. Does it have fly ash? Has water been added to it? All these other kind of factors affect that. So the performance value is the way that we generally try to write our specifications so that it has to, I don't care which way you do it, but it has to meet this design standard. Just like whenever we were looking at your house that one day, Bill, city says 100 miles an hour. I went on my 116. That's a performance value we designed for that particular location.
And the current regulations do require that on-site, the labs are on-site testing. You've got your construction examination guidelines that talk about who needs to be on site and what needs to be monitored. So that is being done with the current regulation. It may not have been, it may have been done a little differently with the 2000 regulations, but with these, since June of 2022, that's what the requirement is, to have that lab on site and get all the testing submitted to the county for review. And so there's potential if the lab's on site and they're doing testing and they run into an area that needs a little additional depth stabilization, then they would direct the contractor to do that on site.
Oops. That's,
What about it, Bill? You on board yet?
I don't, I'm still kind of hung up on our design standards that, and it kind of goes back to what I said a minute ago, is that we say we have a minimum.
Yeah, forget anything with the city because they don't even inspect enough to know they got metal in it.
I'm not worried about the city. I'm worried about us. So we basically tell them, hey, give us 6 inches of stabilized base, sub base, 8 inches of flexible base on top of that. I'm getting to my picture back over here. I punched the wrong button. Anyway, 8 inches on top of that, but I don't know what this was made to sit on top of. You know, was this a caliche base road? Was this black gumbo road? You know, underneath our stabilized sub base, what's under there? And I think that hurts us a lot. You know, they come and they grind it down 6 inches and they get their compaction on their subgrade and they put 8 inches of rock and they get the compaction. And as soon as that 80,000-pound garbage truck comes down, he pushes it into the gumbo down below it. And then here we go, you know, and our roads are falling apart. So, they don't.
Oh, I was gonna read to you, but you can read yourself.
Fine, if it's 500 feet on a roadway, I tried that a couple of years ago, the 500 foot.
It's all built into there.
Monitoring proof rolls, that helps identify some of those issues, but it, you know, definitely subject to missing.
Do we need to increase the minimum stabilized from 6 inches to 8 inches?
That would help the structural integrity of your asphalt is.
Would that be applicable to all soil types?
That's what I'm saying. No.
I mean, some soil types don't need that.
Spending extra money on
Right,
something
so
that doesn't.
it could be increasing the cost without.
That's not,
Without it
I mean,
being-
Well, I'll
the
tell you,
nature of placing a standard is if you place a high standard, then it's going to exceed the minimum design criteria for that job in some cases. So the plus is what Bill's going now. If you have a design that's right at the edge and you want better than performance, then you put a buffer on there. Sure, you get a little better than all of your projects. There's a cost of it. It's called out.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's also an issue if somebody stabilizes 8 inches and they only needed to stabilize 6 inches, but they use the amount of line you needed to stabilize 6 inches on 8 inches.
Right.
So that's an issue too, is people, there may be instances where people are stabilizing too deep and not having enough lime and fly ash for that depth.
Have you ever seen it where a developer that wants to build a road, when they bring their road plan back and say, okay, we came out, we did 20 cores or something like that. So we're gonna do, just like you say in your picture, do we go through and look at their geotechnical evaluations and say, 6 feet down, there's a tree stump. We need a little more help out of you than that, or do we just say, hey, you meet our standards, our minimum standards, you got a stamp in the corner, let's go.
We do look at the geotechnical report with the plans. We don't send it out to like another geotechnical firm to do another review on it from that respect, but we look at it to see if there's any red flags.
So I'm just trying to get us, in my mind, I need to get us to where 4 years into a road in a 100-home subdivision with, like you say, 50 trucks a day in and out of garbage trucks and concrete trucks. And
Absolutely.
4 years into it, it's a 20-year-old road all of a sudden. And can we build that into this with this? I don't know.
Keep it off the TxDOT standard, use the road classification that's already there for arterial collector, all the other ones that are.
That's pretty much what we build to is TxDOT standard.
It is TxDOT standard, but the actual pavement done. Same in Walker County, that ultimately, typically the geotechnical engineer provides the design. And it has to be equal to or greater than what's in the county regulations.
I don't see any of them hardly doing greater than. I mean, they're all equal to, but
Yeah, none of them do. And I don't blame them. I mean, if
that's about money.
we adopt our standards, that these are our minimums, and you're really only liable for it for a couple of years.
well, if you go to what, and I'm assuming, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but is, our county next to us, Grimes County, still taking them at 75% build out?
I'm not sure Grimes or Washington County, but that's what, we had some information that they were waiting longer for build out, potentially for this exact reason. The court's decision, when it's in the public's interest, should let talk to you about this and not me, but the decision to start maintenance of the road by the county is an independent decision of approval of plat. The only negative is if the road is built and the bond is released and then you have failures, then the subdivision is then on the hook to get those roads into a standard that the court would dictate for maintenance. So if the developer is gone, then it's the lot owners that are essentially on the hook. Danny's has lived through that.
Yeah, 8 years of.
Holding the length that you can hold the bond, I don't know what the maximum length of the bond can be held. Right now, we have a 10% bond that lasts 1 year. Based on your comments, we'll look into extending that to potentially a 2-year period. But I don't know that you're going to find a developer that'll give you a 2-year bond on a road.
Well, the engineers count for 20 years if they build me a 20-year road.
Yeah, that's litigation probably.
I know Stephanie don't like that, but that's okay. You used to me by now, right?
So today I guess we're talking more about standards today than we are, to me, the big elephant in the room, which is, like I say, they develop and they roll on and then we're stuck with it in a couple of years, but I don't have an answer for that one yet.
Did you add in there a statement on your testing that, because this is what we generally run into. If they provide us all the testing that he passes, but I walk inside there and I see something that's suspect, I have the right to go in there based on our specifications and tell them I want another core right here. If it's if I'm wrong, then we have to pay for it. If he's wrong, he has to replace that area.
Well, I thought we had something in here where we reserve the right to test on our own.
Yeah, we can call.
Yeah.
Anything, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So that would pretty well cover that.
Yeah, if you find a bad spot, you might make them fix it anyway, so, I mean.
In the testing section, it says if visual concerns are noted at any time, additional testing may be required at the county's discretion.
Yeah.
And just to remind you, and we're all aware of this, but asphalt is only, by the regulations, is only permitted with 125-foot frontage or greater.
Right.
So anything less than that, so it, it's not anything that's a higher density, it's not going to be permitted on by regulations.
So right now in the code, between 80 and 125 feet, you can have an open ditch cross section, but you can have an open ditch cross section between 80 and 125 foot. You can have a lot created, but the lot that's created has to have a curb and gutter cross section. So you have a minimum lot frontage of 80, but all the way up to 125 is categorized as an urban subdivision, which requires a urban gutter. It's only above the 125 foot frontage that we even talk about open ditch at all.
And so there's always the option to 10 acre and greater is allowed to have asphalt, or 5 acre, or something like that, where maybe you're not disallowing asphalt in its entirety.
The current code only has 2 subdivision type. If you guys wanted to create a third type, a fourth type, you could. Categories have different requirements in those categories.
Well, and I wasn't gonna bring this up, but this is exactly what I'm worried about. If you could set the deal to where 5 acres and above, you can go asphalt. My concern is if we do all concrete, every subdivision we're gonna get is gonna be as small a lot as we're gonna allow. That's my concern. It's gonna kill your 5 to 10 acre subdivisions is my thoughts on it, because this doesn't work on paper, right? They can't make any money. So therefore, we're not gonna get those subdivisions, 5, 10 acre lot subdivisions. That's my biggest concern. I'd love to see a 5 to 10 acre lot.
I don't think you'll ever see 5 to 10 acre lots again in this county.
Or build
That's-
one, I mean,
Yeah, I think you're
We got
done.
one off, we got one off 230 going in.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We do have one. I forgot about
Look at
that.
it.
Where you got one going?
is not the 2296 based off 3 acres?
96.
I don't want to go on memory and misspeak, but I think it's based off a 3 acre lot.
I think it is larger lots.
You know,
We're talking about private still, aren't they?
part, they're talking both.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be ideal for me. It was 3 acres and larger lots. You go with asphalt.
Well, they're always gonna tell you that they can't make money, but they always seem to keep building.
You're not gonna stop them from coming here. I don't care what you do. Yeah, we got land and they're gonna come in. So you need to protect the county, the taxpayers.
Well, most of the traffic studies that we deal with, like, you look at like Willis, we did one a couple of years ago that was down there. We were kind of surprised because we can look at the current traffic situations, and then look at 15 years out or 5 years out. We saw some trends that we were not aware of. And now you look and you're seeing those subdivisions coming in, and these numbers were astronomical. But at the time, we didn't have them. We had like 5,600, and they were talking about 15 to 20,000 cars per day and all this other kind of stuff that's going around there. So that would be one of the things that we would naturally kind of look towards. It's the performance data or performance specifications would talk about that. How many roads, if you have one car going down, you know, the road every day at 7 o'clock and 1:05 p.m., obviously that road is not going to be this, it's not going to have the same wear as one that's having 50 cars through there. So I think that that's part of the problem that they're seeing in Montgomery County as well, is that these roads were never designed for it. Developers come in, and 1,200, 2,000 homes, and there was never a traffic study done. They basically did it part in sections, but there was no regulation to require them to upgrade that area going in.
And currently there is a requirement to do traffic studies and there's if TxDOT's going to require a traffic study, then developer needs to do a traffic study. Over 150 peak hours, you're required to do a traffic study.
But those traffic studies are basically the build out of what's in there. That's not the construction that goes on prior to it, right?
It helps with the classification of the road going in.
That's what sets the local collector arterial, then the regulation.
But just like I deal with, one home may have 500 loads of dirt go in it. That's not in that, you know?
Some subdivisions are
One home.
require a lot more dirt work than others.
So if you can get through the construction part, you're pretty well home free, but
Right. I agree with that, 100%.
Take that 1 year, turn it into build out.
I'm good with that.
Well, and then you could do like a step paving. Okay, if you're gonna build it to here, then we could add in, if we went with, we stayed with asphalt, you could say, all right, when you're 50% done, you have to fix all the failures and put another 2 inches on it or something. I don't know, it's just an idea.
That's just a patch.
I would limit the load going in there. If they're going to do a collector road or arterial road, whatever, that's the limit that goes in there. And if they have, it's like we were talking about last time, Cape Royale, you can't bring a full load of concrete in. It'll never get past the gate. They check. Same with dirt. Same with certain styles of equipment.
Well, we're talking about, there again too, though, we're talking about public roads and public
Yeah,
roads.
public
Supposed to
roads,
be
you
able to
can't
hold the
stop
weight
it.
limits. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't
put
put
you in
them
the
on
back.
public road. Or
You
public
can do that on
You can-
private, but you can't do it on.
Well, you can do it on public roads, but you can't pick out somebody. You can't say no concrete trucks
Right.
and let the 80,000 pound garbage
Put a
truck.
weight limit.
So and your weight standards have to be established either by an engineer, I believe, and it's universal across. So like I say,
It's not manual.
when the lumber trucks come through with the concrete trucks and the garbage trucks, you can't say, hey, no garbage trucks. And the guy who lives on that road with an 18-wheeler, he gets to come home every day. So it's, most counties don't just for that reason. They think about it and then somebody says, what do you mean I can't drive my own truck on a public road to my house? So this is one reason why I like the idea
Of concrete.
I like the idea of concrete. I'm not opposed to concrete. I'm not opposed to concrete, but I also understand that, the cost of development, stuff like that. And that's why I like leaving the option on some of these 125, 150, 500-foot frontage roads of saying, hey, you can build it to a concrete standard and we'll consider accepting it, or you can come and say, I'll build it to your new hot mix standards and know that we're not going to accept it ever and say that from now on, that's your road.
And then you get a new court up here,
Yeah, you can't say.
and
no.
then basically they bring it up here because they got enough votes in a subdivision to vote a commissioner in or whoever, and then they take the damn roads. That will happen.
I recall when we were doing the,
So
that Commissioner White wanted to implement into the private, the statement, never, ever.
don't remember that. He wasn't shaking his head.
It takes 3 to change it.
But if you put it on the plat that this road is for private purposes and be maintained by the subdivision like Townley Ranch Road, this is a private subdivision, it says right on the plat. Now you gotta go get 50 residents to sign off on that thing to change it. And then come here and try to talk 3 commissioners into voting yes. And I don't know if anybody here has ever got a second on a road to go from private to public. I mean,
No,
we've
you
all had the
hadn't.
guy come to us
But-
and say, will you?
You didn't ever have the size of subdivisions that we got coming now, Bill. The new people coming in here. They're not what they used to be. We don't have country folks. We got city folks coming to the country,
Right?
and they want concrete right up to their driveway. Or specking pretty asphalt right up to their driveway.
And not a different color than that.
And it don't need to be a different color. It don't need to have a patch in it, you know?
Yeah, it has to stay that way.
So, you know, like I say, I mean, it's not our little rural county anymore. You're dealing with a totally different bunch of folks. And, you know, typically city folks need to be in the city, not in the country, in my personal opinion, but they're here
But they're here.
and they're here to stay.
Right, we gotta make roads for them good enough to drive on. So,
I didn't hear you say that again.
They post on Facebook, their foxes and coons and.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I guess this.
Can't even imagine what happened to your cat.
Andy, we're getting a little off track.
No, we're right on track.
One of the things I was asked,
It's y'all's workshop.
one of the things I was asked to bring up again is the timing of the geotech bores.
I'm good.
Can it be after clearing?
Bill down there feels left out there.
I'll give you
Lifesaver peppermint. There's a Jolly Rancher there.
We require the boring, prior to design. They can bore and will bore as deep as they need to bore, because they know what existing grades are, they know where they're going down to with design. So they can overbore as deep as they need to go to see what's naturally there. Now, yes, it is possible that during manipulation of the soil, during construction, that there's some change to that.
Only depth.
Well, the question, the water supposed me, you got a road coming in here through the woods. How do you get a geotechnical boring group in there first?
That's one of the things that we just dealt with. That's one of the reasons that the developer that you guys granted the variance to, although it wasn't a full variance. They had a certain number of bores on the places they could get to, but they didn't have it all the way down the road center line because it wasn't ready yet.
Is it because it wasn't accessible?
Accessible.
It is always accessible. I've been around enough thing, what do you call them, Stephanie? I'm thinking off the top of my head, the oil field bunch. They come in and do all the testing for the gas, seismograph crew. Yeah,
They get
they
there.
can get anywhere,
Yeah.
you know?
Them guys go
So I
everywhere.
call it bull.
Yeah.
You just gotta wanna get there.
It depends on the ability of the geotechnical,
Yeah.
so some will have like buggy rigs that are
Absolutely.
easier to.
I've seen them go straight up a creek
And
bank.
some don't have those, so it may be, you know, maybe the
Smooth and
geotechnical engineer
everything.
doesn't have the ability to access it, or they have concerns that they're gonna get their equipment stuck, and then they're not gonna be able to do any other projects for, you know, a couple weeks if it gets stuck, so it may be a risk, like a concern about risk more than
Yeah.
the actual ability of, moving in, and also, there, I don't think there's any clearing permits that anyone has to get, maybe if they wanted to burn, does the county issue?
We do not
You
issue
didn't-
burn.
okay.
No.
It's not legal for me to issue burn.
So you can clear to get anywhere on site without a permit.
We do not
It's just a
require,
matter of,
we do not require a development permit to cut trees down.
Yeah.
For East Texas, that's agriculture as far as I've been instructed.
Property rights.
So we do not, no, so you can go in there and clear. When you start manipulating the dirt and changing the flow of water and those kinds of things, then yes, that's development, that has to. But the cutting of the trees to get in there and that kind of stuff, we do not have requirement, permitting requirements.
I've actually drilled geotechnical samples inside Cafe Texan. There are 6 47-foot helical piles that we use to support the mainframes. I've done it over at Robinson Creek. I've done it over in Livingston. I've done all over the place. There is a smaller, it's like a little small track though that they go in, but they can go in pretty much anywhere type of building. And especially with pipe limitations or whatever, that's always a problem. You know, in the mast or whatever, you go drilling rig, but they could do it either way. They could cut the path through there and then use a drill truck. And that's the easiest or whatever, but there's also a track hose system that they can go through to do the same.
so a lot of times it comes down to the risk and to the cost.
And you feel
associated
like,
with it.
Stephanie, you feel like there's a need if they've done the geotechnical up front, the base plans on it, then once they've started actual work of clearing, is there any need to come back and do geotechnical again at that? Or it's case by case?
Okay, there may be an instance, but it's definitely not typical where you need to come back. and finish geotech. But
What else y'all got?
sites where it's very difficult to get on site, and I've had geotechnical engineers not want to move in their equipment because they will get stuck. Had them get stuck and have their equipment stuck there for 2 weeks. Plus, you get some rain and it's already kind of a boggy site, so it's a concern. But maybe not for every development.
Right, they'd have to come here and like the other guys, they'd have to come here and ask, hey, are y'all flexible with this? Can we not go here right now or whatever? And then
Yeah, it's still a requirement regardless if you
you have
get there or not.
still have to,
Yeah.
you're to ask to get out of it.
To be clear, you guys didn't say you don't have to do it. You just
Right.
said you have to do it prior to any construction.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's still there. All right, so where we at, brother?
Bring it back, let's vote on it.
I don't know what we voting on. What we voting on?
You'll find out next court. I don't know yet. You know,
So
you have to post it and everything else, right, Andy?
I mean, I got a little direction.
So did y'all want to change any of the substructure on the base depths?
That's gonna fall back on you.
Okay,
In my opinion.
I'm just making sure we covered that earlier on back and forth.
Let's consider increasing subgrade depths. Look into that. I've got my note on that.
Okay,
Ronnie mentioned considering extending the warranty period to 2 years instead of 1. Got a note on that. I know that you guys haven't discussed the road cross section, but I didn't hear any direction on what you guys want me to bring back on that. Or what anybody. If you want to eliminate one of the standards that we currently allow.
And there's also the
Or
option.
qualify it.
Because the county, my understanding is the county has a request for qualifications on geotechnical engineer out right now. And so there's always the option to wait until that geotechnical engineer is on board and work with them also on potential options. I have communicated with geotechnical engineers on these regulations, but if you have somebody that you contracted with that, if they have the ability to spend a little time on it, probably brings them value to any modifications.
30 to 50 years, right?
Typically, so Portland Cement Association did a study. Concrete typically lasts 29.4 years without needing any significant rehabilitation, whereas asphalt lasts 13.8 years without needing
I didn't hear that last number, Steph.
13.8 years
Thank
without needing significant.
I can differ with you on that. I honestly can, but
Well, this is significant rehabilitation. So 5 years, 8 years, you may be going out there and needing point repairs or even, relaying it.
So I got 20 years out of a black land field in Canyon Ranch out there, about 20 years before we overlaid. All right. Spent $700,000, $600,000, 650 something. So anyhow, a lot of dang money, took a long time to save that dang much money. You know, if I could get by with concrete and not have to spend anything on it other than very, very minor maintenance, then I'm on board all the way. We spent $1 million in a subdivision on a grant 2 years ago now. And I had contractors do it, was thoroughly disappointed
Cracks.
in asphalt. And we over-engineered everything. They put in more base, they put in more Portland, they put in more hot mix.
we're in the same place.
And we still cracked it. You know, in a subdivision that the people are grateful for what they got because what they had was a joke. You know, it was what our old normal crap was. I mean, it just, come through and bladed every now and then. And so they're not complaining. But we had done that in a nicer subdivision, we'd have been eaten alive.
Yeah, I had the same situation. They didn't have any roads. They was proud of what they got, but, and it's still a nice road.
Yeah.
It really is, but it
And
cracked
we
out.
spent $1 million a piece. I mean, we all got that money, and that's what we done with ours. And I was not impressed,
So next court, I expect y'all to be on board. Think about it, get your hearts in the right place. That's my speech. I'm good.
I'm just trying to get if I would like to prepare language, if we're going to, some draft language, consider an item.
Straight concrete.
To eliminate.
Do away with the other asphalt.
We want to leave the asphalt standard in for the,
Private stuff.
no, we have a, in your code, you have a small, what we call a low
Right, the low
low traffic road. It's our narrowest, smallest road for like small dead end street.
Yeah, we put it in less than 1,000 foot or something like that.
Lots or 24 lots, if I remember.
I'm gonna say no, Andy. That's where I'm at. Where
I'm
y'all?
fine with.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, you might as well
Well,
just do it.
so hash out what Bill's concern is about the private stuff. In my opinion, Bill, you still, even though it's private, you stand a chance of having to take it in one day. You're still gonna get the phone call. That's the whole deal about the private. It don't matter if you own it or not. They're gonna call you and holler away, hey, it's my tax dollars. Well, you know.
So if you go make everybody build a concrete road to county standards, like I said, last meeting, you will never have another county private road. They will all be public. They will all come here to be public and you will have to vote to accept pretty much accept every one of them. Because it'll be all built to county standards. So every
You
single.
don't have to take a road at all,
But you gotta have a
but you
good
might not
reason.
sit in that chair very long.
I know that. You have to have a dang good reason if you accept 99 and Mr. 100 comes in
Absolutely.
and you just don't like him or whatever, you say no. So I mean, if this had been in place 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I kind of feel like Texas Grand Ranch would be a private subdivision. They would have said, we're not going to concrete it. We're going to pave it and we'll take care of it. That's 40 miles of road that we took that I feel like they probably would have said, cost of all concrete, heck no, we'll pave it and we'll take care of ourselves. So to me, it gives a developer, especially a large lot developer, the 5, 6, 8, 10 acre lot guys, gives them to say, yeah, we'll take care of it because I don't want to go.
Since you can't make that definite though, and you can't, all it takes is 3 people on this court to change that.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
But
Will it happen with the dirt road you got out there and the dirt road that Jimmy brought up here 14 times? Never.
right.
But when you tell them they're gonna build it to these standards down the road and it's private, they bring it to you,
If it's
you
not-
most likely gonna take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will.
So Quentin, I got a question for you. Legally, can we make them build the 2 standards if they want to go private? So we got, so say in one instance, we got concrete roads. They want to do private. We have another set of standards for them to build private. Is there anything legally that keeps us from doing that? I mean, it is double standard.
It's double standards as long as this court stays
Take
put
them in.
with that
Yeah.
standard,
Yeah,
but
you'll have a minimum asphalt standard and a minimum concrete standard. And you can tell them up front, this current commissioner court says, if you bring it as an asphalt road, we're gonna tell you it's gonna be, we're not gonna accept it's gonna be private.
Yeah, I think what you're discussing, I mean, I don't know. You're talking about 2 different things. So one of them is acceptance for maintenance and one of them is standard for the subdivision regulations.
that you're not gonna take.
So you could, if they built it to the subdivision regulation standard, if you left the asphalt standard and they built it, but then you had a policy of the court that in general, if it wasn't built of concrete, then you wouldn't accept it for maintenance. And that's a decision on the interest of the public, whatever
Mhm.
that would be.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. It's a good
That's what I'm
way.
saying. Yeah, it's easy.
It's not something I've seen. I'll look around and see if anybody has something like that, but I'm not aware of that.
I don't mind being first on stuff.
But
I wouldn't,
is the specification between concrete and asphalt material, and Danny mentioned out there on off of 980. That vein starts at Riverside and goes all the way up and it hits up on the east side of I-35. Because I built structures for Motorola over there. It's flexible, it's on a high plasticity index, I think above 60. You have a 6 to 8 inch PVR. So to put concrete on there would be absolute stupidity. You'd have to have so many control joints and everything else in small sections. It doesn't make sense to do that. You know, it's gonna fail. So you could write in there a failure inadvertently. It should be based upon the geotechnical going in there, the recommendation from the engineer before the road is cut. I mean, I don't know of a single engineer that will sign off on any road or any structural design that doesn't have a geotechnical report to back it up with.
Right. And I fall back on the engineer when it doesn't work and get his, or hers, whoever it happens to be, to
Yeah,
make it the 20-year road that it's supposed to be.
well, and I'm
I
not
don't
going.
get the answer, Doc.
Well, and I'm not gonna, I'm gonna vary with Don a little bit on that too, because you jump right across the road over there on cowboy country that was built over 50 years ago that I have still not spent. It's gonna bite me in the butt one of these days.
I know.
Still have not spent a dime on it.
Right.
You know, and I don't remember how thick it was. It may be 6 inches thick. It's probably 4, but it's
Back then.
back then, yeah.
Yeah.
But so, you know, I don't know, and it's got traffic on top of traffic on it. There ain't nobody runs the road like college kids. You
They're
know?
not all in small cars.
Yeah, no,
Trucks and trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That road's been in good shape for
Yeah.
a long, long time too.
So Andy, yeah, along the lines of what Bill's saying is, can you bring us back something to look at that will only accept in the maintenance, concrete roads and asphalt have to be to our standards, but with the notation that they will not be accepted?
So the court has a standing, been in place since before I got here, on looking at what roads you guys will look at for maintenance. And essentially, I'm working off memory here, and basically it's pretty short and refers to if the road doesn't meet county standards, the current county subdivision regulation, or generally won't consider them for maintenance. Although it's your policy, so you guys could work outside of that policy if you wanted to. In the regs now, it talks about the process of moving forward before you're cleared to request. And that's where that 1 year warranty period is in. And then after that, then they can come to request, but it doesn't really address anything specific to the court's typical policy on what they will accept for maintenance, at what point they will accept. So somebody could theoretically build a road that meets your standards to the T, but the court make a decision that it's not in the public's interest to maintain that particular road. May even be a public road, right? And so the example I like to use is if somebody were to, for example, subdivide some very large acreage tracts and build a road that meets standards to like 300 or 400, 200 acre tracts in the back, and it's a 5 mile long road, and they build it to county standards, and they subdivide off of it, they're 400 or 500 acre tracts. The court may look at that and say, for the cost of the public, for the benefit of these 4 owners, it doesn't make sense for us to maintain that road. Yes, it's approved, it's a legal subdivision, you can, move forward with it, but you may decide it's not in the public's interest to maintain it. So when it's in the public's interest is a decision that's always made by the court. You have a guidance policy out there on it. We could open that back up and the court could take another look at that guidance policy and what they would like it to say now. The one that's been there's been there for a long time. It's pretty short. I'd have to go pull it. It's been a while since I looked at it, but
We do need to have that flexibility if it's not in the public interest for the concrete. What I'm saying is, can we put it in black and white on this subdivision policy that roads built to asphalt standards will not be taken?
Quentin, I see your wheels turning back there.
Yeah, so you're missing missing a piece. A developer could build a road dedicated to the public, but it's not a private road. The county has no obligation to take public roads in the county name. I mean, that's back to the 3 layers of a road. The private road, the developer has to go through certain processes in order to accomplish making it a private road. Then there's if the developer doesn't go through those processes or actually puts in the plat that you approve that they're dedicating this road to the public, it's a public road and it doesn't mean you have to take it into maintenance. So y'all been talking about two road standards, one for private roads, one for public roads.
They have.
I understand, but that,
When we say private, that's really what we mean, is a public road not maintained by the county. That's the terminology. I mean, I know it's not the right terminology, but it's easier to say than that public road not maintained by the county, just say
so
private.
I'm just a lawyer, so I'm
I hear
nothing
you.
about roads, but if you're gonna use the term private, I'm triggering certain
I hear you.
statutory and case law. What you're telling me now, when you say that you're actually talking about both private roads and public roads that have not been accepted.
Absolutely, yeah.
More expansive.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. So my problem with you pouring that directly into your subdivision regulation is that's a document that, although it doesn't seem to be happening around here, should not have to be revised and revisited annually. It shouldn't, but that's what you've been doing now for years on end. And if you keep doing that, but if you put that in your policy and then y'all take a vote
Mhm.
that goes the other way, and you have that authority as a commissioner's court, you can do that. So it's kind of like maybe something that's not quite so binding, I guess is the word I'm looking for. You need to be judicious about that. If you're gonna put something, a declaration like that, because it
May not be accepted.
well, that's helpful.
That's better.
Because the composition of this court, when one member changes, is a whole new court. But also, every time the calendar turns over, it's a whole new court, even if it's the same 5 people. And you know and recognize that in budget decisions, that's a much clearer ground. As an attorney, I'm much more solid in my recommendation about that. I'm not telling you that you can't do that in your subdivision regulation. You should be very cautious with it.
In other words, no, Brendan.
No, I'm not.
That's about as close as you're gonna get to quitting saying anything.
I think there's a way to do it. I'm not sure that it's advisable to do it that way. I won't make the other side very happy. I don't see the problem with having more than one standard. I don't have an issue with the court conveying to developers, and you need to be upright with them. They need to know that, upfront with them. They need to know that. If you do this standard, we're very unlikely to take this road into county.
Mhm.
Right.
Why can't Water County just accept the text dot standards and so you reference that way you have multiple, like you talk about, you have multiple situations which give liability to options because it's not one side of this all. That's part of the problem. Concrete can be good for me to build, but for somebody else, asphalt will get you that longer line. You get concrete parking lots around here. Concrete lots.
Most of that's done by the way they do
Yeah, it's what's underneath too, you know, what them guys put underneath, regardless of what it is,
And the middle
them. And their method.
you know. And the city's a fine example over there where Bill used to work. You know,
Well,
Yeah.
we really need to figure out what we're gonna do before we bring all this back, spend all the dang money on reposting it. We're gonna leave concrete in it, leave asphalt in it, or not?
I'm not for it. I
I'm
mean,
not
that's just
for
where
it.
I'm standing. Well, I hate doing two standards, you know, I mean, anything you give them, we should be able to take.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause the
and that's the way it
potential
is
there.
right now.
Yeah, the potential is there.
So the potential's there for us to take it, for us to say that, hey, we'll take the concrete, but you know, we're probably not gonna take the other one. I don't like that. I mean, let's
I
not
like
being
that
upfront
one.
with these
I like
guys.
that one a lot.
Huh?
I like that one a lot.
I knew you did, but I don't like it at all.
like it a lot. I mean, if somebody comes to me and tells me I got a 1,500 home, 1,500 acre subdivision with lots of 190
That
feet.
could be 1,500 homes.
Yeah, but if it's 1,500 homes, it's gonna have curb and gutter because it'll be 125 feet or less.
You could always tell them it'd be nice if they just leave it in ag and not put it into, homes. You know, because we would like to eat one of these days,
I hear you on
you
that.
know?
I hear you on that.
Talking to the ag person, you know, so
Where you at, Judge?
I'm not happy with y'all putting all this land.
Well.
You've been in ag your entire
Yeah,
life too, you
the-
know,
the
so.
I don't
potential-
mind the asphalt on the big lots. On the big lots.
Yeah, it gives them an option. And before we come back and meet again, I think I'd like to send, I mean, we know the 10 home builders, developers or whatever around here. I would like to see what they think. Can we,
Yeah, we've had
They-
6 weeks, so Bill,
yeah, but I'd like to.
you know,
And they ain't had nobody, ain't nobody sitting here. They've had enough time, in my opinion.
Now, I want to bring this up because I want to understand it really good. We know it was designed in our favorite subdivision we always talk about. The first 4 sections, I think, were chip seal. That's one you have the most problem with, right?
not particularly, no.
Okay.
I mean, I got problems throughout the entire subdivision, but it's all from, I'm telling you, it ain't got nothing to do with the people who live there.
I
It's
understand.
all from construction,
Sure
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
you know?
Now, with that said, how do we improve that road style?
You just don't take nothing until they build it out.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do that.
As an engineer, how will we upgrade that road style?
You could increase your pavement section, so deeper stabilization, additional base.
Now you're up to concrete.
You're increasing the costs.
Yeah, now you're up to where concrete is.
But there's an option there.
Not if they don't do it.
But if you're gonna up that, building that road, or say we're gonna up those standards, and you have to up that standards on concrete too. So both are gonna go up. I mean, that's the whole point
Give
of,
them both the option and make them pick the concrete.
we need to improve the style, we need to improve. I don't know if it's the trips per day or whatever. We need to improve how we build that road from here to here to here to here, okay? And we need to have that same variant, option on asphalt and concrete. We go off of trips per day, 7 or 9 trips per day per house. That's what we go off of.
Right.
It needs to be better than that, whether it's asphalt or concrete.
I don't disagree with you, but you know, I mean, technically, the long life is gonna be the concrete. It's not never gonna be the asphalt.
They have the option now.
Yeah.
What do they choose to do?
They choose the cheapest. They make more money. I mean, if you wanna get right down to it, they make more money. They choose the cheapest route.
Always will.
If we don't address building the roads better,
All right, we'll take out the asphalt, improve the concrete underneath it,
listen,
and we're done.
listen. If you're building an asphalt road to this standard and you're building a concrete road to this standard, ultimately the same, other than the wear of it, you still got the same road. You got still same
You
structural
ain't never got
strength.
the same road when you got concrete.
Well, I do like concrete.
Yeah. You see what went on out there in that little old place my daughter lives.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and
That's,
I'm out there enough with her that, you know, you got them little black stripes all over the dang place out there.
Mhm.
That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
You know, that's a new subdivision. That should not be happening.
And in both of my concrete subdivisions, we've had to already replace panels. We've already had cracking in that one. Of course, it was because of a structure underneath it, but that concrete's not 6 months old yet. And we're already having.
Whatever's
You're
underneath,
gonna
it,
have problems with both of them.
you're gonna have problems with everything, Brandon. We all know that.
So let's build what's under, the point I'm trying to make is
I understand.
whatever's underneath has to be better for both.
that's
If
what
you
we,
do away with the one, you ain't got but one to deal with and build it right and be
Yeah.
done with it.
I'm already having troubles with a subdivision that's 3 years old. We're replacing panels.
I don't even know what subdivision you talking about.
Waverly Place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave that
We
one.
not made them replace several panels out there?
Yeah.
So to say that there's no
Okay, so
no
what,
maintenance on it,
why was the failure? Because they didn't do something. What did they not do?
I don't know. Let's build what's underneath it better. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to make.
it don't matter how the better we get if they don't do the
better.
better right underneath it.
So let's,
That's the whole key is the bottom on
we're
everything.
working on our policy. Let's work on the underneath right
Yeah.
now. While
In
we're
Waverly
working on,
Coast, the one in the very front section that this court give them an exemption on, give them a variance
I
on.
give them a variance on width. They didn't give them a variance on the, how it was built. They give them a variance on the width.
How far away from the testing location?
That's pre-me, I don't know.
Better than me if you don't remember something.
Well, that comes back to the way Don's talking is a lot better to look at versus a hole here and 500 foot another hole.
Yeah.
You know, so
There's 2 underground streams underneath Cafe Texas. Nobody do it. You can go right through them. That's something that, 35 feet down, 25.
on Waverly Place, is that the one on the 3075 out there?
That's Hassel.
Mr. Hassel used to have it.
Yeah, that's him.
That's it.
You know, he did that on.
Well, you
So
know,
it goes back to,
Yeah, you know he done it right.
never mind.
it goes back to this cross section.
I'll call it like it is.
Do we
He
beef up?
filled
the
in a
cross section?
detention pond.
Those are, I mean, once again, these are minimums. And we put it on, and if we were gonna design every road ourselves, then we wouldn't need an engineer to design our roads. You give them a base and say, even if you're laying, if this is a brand new road on a hard shale base, you're still building it like this as a minimum. If it's a different subgrade, then there.
How many roads y'all get that's built better than the minimum?
We get 0,
All right.
but that's on the engineer part.
That's why you put that stamp and make that stamp pay for them repairs for 20 years.
That's why I want to try to.
I'll still go back to that.
In the design side, but maybe.
I think we're out lobbied on that part.
No, I agree with you.
Oh, no, I'm talking about here. I'm talking about further up.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Stephanie?
So it's maybe not the design side. I don't recall anything on the design side that was greater than the standard, than the minimum in the standard, but maybe in construction where the lab's on site doing testing, they may find an area that needs additional stabilization. I know there's been some peripheral failures and things like that. I just don't have it committed to memory,
Right.
what occurred to address the issue.
That particular place, none of the drainage was ever done right. Did they ever fix all that mess or not?
We're working through that.
See, I mean, there you go. I mean, it's, yeah,
The panel failures weren't where the
Yeah.
drainage issues were.
but,
we're up on
but
top.
nothing was done right was my point.
Are we gonna control? How are we gonna control that on the next one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Right.
So you go back to not taking.
It don't
any
matter
road,
if we
just a
take
simple
in concrete in 5 years, we're gonna be discussing whatever the new thing is anyways in 5 years, you know? Well, we've had asphalt forever, we thought it was great, and now we're going to concrete and
Possibly.
maybe.
So let's
Bring it back to vote one way or the other.
bring it back.
We'll get it off.
I've already made a note to bring back A and B option for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to
I
be
didn't think y'all were gonna get there today.
unanimous.
bring it back for a vote and we'll vote on it and see where it goes.
So with the no asphalt option, do you want to leave the asphalt cross sections in the regulations in case you?
Well, we gotta vote on that too.
Me personally, no. I don't know about the rest of the courts.
Why would you give them a variance?
Yeah.
Well,
There's been other instances where people have been granted variance, so
Yeah.
somebody wanted.
Oh, no, I get it.
to
We're
do
pretty good.
9-acre lot,
Yeah.
it might be something, and they want to do, increase cross section or something like that, and they
Yeah.
do.
So
Well,
when you-
if they ever get to where there's something they need to look at, then they could just bring it to us.
as
Is there,
engineered.
As
is there
engineered.
ever any consensus about tying the asphalt to an acreage minimum lot size, creating another category of subdivision?
A ranch subdivision or something.
I would like to see that, yes.
And I'm not telling you that that's necessarily a good thing, because generally in those subdivisions they're very big, you may have a lot more road. Right? Have a lot more mileage of road per lot in those subdivisions. But,
Yeah.
I know there was a discussion, but I've never heard sort of any consensus on.
Well, those subdivisions won't have it. If it's a concrete road in front of it, you won't have those. You can't have one guy pay for.
You're not
8
gonna.
feet of concrete road.
Go on, Bill.
What?
We all entitled our opinion. I'll let you tell me yours a while ago, so you're hearing mine now.
I got it. I got it. That's fine. But you're
Nothing
pretty
personal, you
much,
know.
but I think you're gonna legislate them out of existence. I mean, you're gonna, cause
They're already out of existence. They're gone.
there's a lot more money in them. But that's why our 80 to 125 foot standard gives them, with curb and gutter, that that makes them, they're a little more expensive, but they're spread out over 2 or 3 people instead of one guy paying for 800 foot of road frontage, concrete road.
Yeah, but
Two people, I guess.
when you're saying you're getting $100,000 a lot,
Yeah. A lot.
that man is gonna expect concrete.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love it for subdivisions. Like I told you, the one in my neighborhood, Sterling Ridge, they're doing concrete. In
The rest of it's concrete.
in the last section. Yeah, they're gonna do all
Finally
that
come around.
in concrete. So they're gonna do it.
Well, they didn't have much choice because the road fell in.
Yeah.
The asphalt caved in. Let me rephrase that. The asphalt did.
So,
Okay, what else you need
Okay.
to know? And
That's
What else you need, Andy, to make sure we can vote on this next week?
all that. I just wanted to see if the court wanted me to try to insert something about
I got a yes over here, so yes.
an option for that.
What are you thinking, Bill? 3 and larger, 3 acres and larger?
I just, in my mind, I'm,
Suddenly we come down to 3 acres all of a sudden from 5.
well, what I'm envisioning now. Well, what I'm
Man, it'd
envisioning,
be 2 acres before we get out of here.
I'm envisioning these little, long, skinny lots. And I don't know where our legislation is this year. They finished, I guess they closed off new bills, but I don't know where the legislation sits as far as us being able to regulate road frontage and stuff anyway. There's one.
The setbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't speak to that, but who knows? But your current standard is that you have a minimum road frontage on a public road. And then, not necessarily county maintained road, but a public road. And then you have a 1 to 3 depth width. Oh, that was something that you guys touched briefly on last time about on rural subdivisions. 1 to 4. Good number of variants.
Yeah.
So I was,
But I almost want to
They just look to make change.
They like.
legislature ends what, May 31st? That's the end of the date. May 31 is
Sad, so.
the end of it. I think that's the end of it. I would almost want us to sit, I mean, we can move forward with conversations, but we can't, I don't think we change anything that involves road frontage and setbacks right now until something final comes.
the point about how it comes back when court has yes, discrepancy when you want to update your policies, but some of that has been related to the legislature meets every 2 years and they make changes that you guys have to adapt to. And so, yes, we're probably looking at.
So I think we
something
want
coming down
to,
The pipe that the court will have to adapt to this session. I'll be shocked if there's not.
and we won't be back before the legislature ends anyway. So we'll know if that, between now and then, we can find out what that, but it had, tell you what, anything restricting property development, it has a ton of support in the legislature. Taking stuff away from counties to regulate, that's like the most popular thing in Austin.
But they hadn't taken concrete rights away.
They have not taken. Well, they have taken away his ability to not to have 30-foot lots along that concrete road. That's what they're working on.
Oh, they'll get there. Yeah. They'll get
That's what
there.
they're working on. So, so I can find out what the status of that is, but I don't think we make any changes until the
Except
legislature.
the concrete.
Until the legislature closes and we figure out, because it may change a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know.
So I will need to post a meeting where you guys are going to take action on policy.
Right.
What's the court's druthers to your point, what's the court's druthers for me bringing the action item back?
Bring the action item. Let's deal with this once and for all and get it out of the way. It either passes or it don't on the concrete.
Yeah, bring it back.
Yeah.
Can I have 2 sessions to bring it back, or do you want it back the next?
I'm ready for the next court.
See if I can meet the posting requirements by next session.
If you don't, the next one, but we don't need to keep putting it off. I mean, there's too many people buying land. They need
So our
to know.
next meeting is June 2nd.
Second. And then 16th, I think.
Then the 16th after that. I would rather do it on the 16th. That would give us time to get past the legislature stuff that might make. all
We've
this-
been putting it off now for you, Bill, for how many courts? I'm past the point
The
of put off.
legislature's gonna change either way,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to come back.
So this don't need to wait. We need to know one way or the other.
I will see what I can do on making the second. If that, failing that, the 16th at the latest.
Okay.
Is that fair?
The next one that you can meet all deadlines on.
Anybody got anything else?
Nope.
Public comment? Questions from media?
Where's the
We
meeting?
had no meeting today.
We didn't have no meeting.
Commissioner's
I
court.
dropped away.
The governor did sign our bill to get 15 acres, so we're in possession of 14.99 acres on 2821
All right.
at some point for a new court system. So we have 10 years to build it or we gotta give it back, so get ready for some more talk.
Maybe they'll extend it.
No, I think the other entities burned them in town, so